It's Kenlon, and in this video, I'm going to talk about astrology and your purpose, but I'm going to go even beyond that. It's not just your purpose, it's the way you do your purpose. So some of you know, and you're inside my communities, that I love systems. And I'm just going to say a word about systems. What's a system? Astrology, Enneagram, human design, gene keys. They're all systems. Systems are not true or false. They're just perspectives. They're lenses that we put on to see ourselves and the world in a specific way. And the way that I love to use astrology is consciousness astrology. It's not predictive, because oftentimes, when I've had so-called predictions, they've all been wrong because it's like we're looking at the future that has not yet been created. We're creating it in this moment by who we are. So I like to avoid, there are patterns for sure, and I like to decode patterns, but I think that it's more important to know ourselves as creator, and it's more important to understand our template as a vehicle for consciousness. And if we do that, then we know how to navigate in this 3D world as this 5D being that we really are. Because think about it, consciousness chose to be you, particularly, right? It broke itself up into billions and trillions and gazillions of pieces as rocks, as this microphone, as me, as the dog behind me, to know itself. That's the parable that I have. Is that a true story? I don't know, but it's a context to see the world. It's a context of why oneness would come down and inhabit all form, all matter, mater, the mother, right? So divine consciousness, the divine masculine inhabiting the divine feminine, mater, mother, matter. So all that's to say that these systems are going to help you understand who you really are. And when we use it as consciousness astrology, we're seeing the cosmos out there as a reflection of in here. And there's a wheel, there's a zodiac wheel of the 12 houses that touch every aspect of our lives, from our identity to our work with other people, to our daily life, to our spirituality, to our unconscious, to our money, all the things, to our reputation, all the things are reflected as these houses. So there are planets and signs that dominate the houses in your own birth chart. It's a snapshot, a blueprint of your birth time, when you were born. And so I created like a product, like the medicine wheel product, that explores how you use as a spiritual practice your sun and your rising signs. So I'll say a bit about that because it's something that I think can really support you. But here's why I love this. And that practice is what birthed this new understanding in me. And it really only took me decades to understand this. Like, I've never understood this until this moment. And I've been playing with astrology for legit, 20 years. And I never really understood this point that I'm going to share with you now. And that is that your sun is your purpose. I understood that point. Your sun is your purpose. It's how the light shines through you. And we have many other ways to really to peel back the layers to understand the uniqueness of your purpose. Because certainly 12 signs saying my sun sign is whatever it is isn't enough. There's a lot of sun sign astrology, for example, and sometimes it's hit or miss. It's not specific to your chart because your chart has other positions of celestial bodies that are really important in your template. And then we have transits. So we overlay onto your natal the transits of where are the planets now and how are they angling with your birth chart. That's what's really fascinating. And that's why you get readings throughout the year. And I'll tell you, you get a natal reading, know your blueprint, And then on your birthday or shortly thereafter, get a solar return reading, because that is where the planets are on your birthday that sets you up for the next year. Those are the tools that I like to use. There are many, many, many tools, and there are many distinctions. So use what comes to you and what is meaningful for you. But those are the tools that I like to use. And then you can track the angles of the transits, or the angles like the moons. We know that we have a full moon and a new moon every month, and we can track where they are. What degree point are they? So what matches that degree point in my own natal chart? Where's that sign in my chart? So we can have signs in houses where we have no planets. So that means that there won't be connections inside that house, but we still have that sign represented in that house. So everything can be related back to your blueprint. So here's the thing that I learned, and that is about the rising sign. So there are some aspects of astrology where your rising sign is really important, and whole house astrology, which is what I point to a lot because it's really makes the most sense for me. But that's where your rising sign is in the first house, or also called the ascendant. And I teach this inside of Medicine Wheel, but I'm going to give you more of a context. And then if you feel like stepping into Medicine Wheel, you can. But really, this is about consciousness astrology and how do we use these indicators in our blueprint to live into who we're meant to live into. Like, what are the things we're meant to do, and who are we meant to be? So I've already said that the sun sign is your purpose. It is what's lit up. And I'll use myself as an example. I'm a Sagittarius sun sign. So Sagittarians are the archer. If you look at the glyph, it's the archer. And what is the archer pointing to? It's pointing to the future. So for me, I am obsessed with our evolutionary trajectory. And my work is taking the feminine and saying, where are we going? How can the feminine wake up, reclaim itself, and step into the evolutionary trajectory? Because again, the future is not written. It's patterned, but it's not written. We have a say. So if we can add our consciousness to that, then my feeling as a conscious person who sees the awakening of humanity, then I want to align all of us in that direction. So that's my life work. That's my purpose. And please put in the comments below, what is your life work? What is your purpose? Have you distilled it? Do you get it? Okay, that's not the revelation. That probably came somewhere in the 20 years. And it fleshed itself out the more that I did things like the Divine Feminine Summit. Now I'm geared up to do the Evolutionary Feminine Leadership Summit, our online series. So it's like, it's telling me, it's reinforcing to me. And because I have a context around it, then you know how you have so many thoughts in your head, you can start to shape your life through like the focus that you put it on, and then the attention grows it. So that's why it's important to know. If you don't know, then you're unfocused, diffused, and scattered and all over the place. Oh, that sounds good. Oh, that sounds good. Oh, that sounds good. Oh my God, they're doing that. I should do that. Do you relate to that? Like, I really do. And when I don't know my purpose, and I don't know what uniquely I'm here to express and to say, then of course I can just be thrown all over the place. I can get subject to FOMO, bright, shiny object syndrome, jealousy. Gosh, they're doing it so well, I suck, all those kind of things. But when you really lock into the purpose, that is what like hones your, I say drishti, your third eye gaze. But okay, so there's that. But the revelation is, but how do you do it? What's the way that's right for you? Now, might not seem like a big revelation, but it's huge. And let me unpack this for a second. The reason why it's huge is okay, I have this purpose as like, it's one of 12, right? And it's the way I interpret. So not all Sagittarians are going to have the same thing. It's really interacting with my birth chart, my blueprint, but also my conditioning, the fact that I'm a woman, the fact that I was a lawyer. It's interacting with all those things. And there are many ways to express this template. This is what I'm choosing. This is what life has been in conversation with me. And then there's this added layer of the way that I do what I do. So that is represented, and here's the point. It's represented by your rising sign, your ascendant. The point that the sun was, the Eastern sun at the time of your birth. And this is why I love the rising and ascendant. So this actually gives you flavor of that sun sign. And I never got this before. I really never got it. I think the ascendant is so underrated. We've heard it as the masks that we wear. That really doesn't resonate with me at all. And I've heard other astrologers say, and this is a little closer for me, that when someone thinks that they know what your sign is, oftentimes what they're reading is your ascendant, because that's how you do life. It's not a mask. It's how I do life. It's how I do my purpose. So let's unpack it. You can do your purpose like with Aries ascendant with fire. You can do it with fire. You can do it with initiating, sparks, beginnings. You can do it with boldness, with edge. That's not me. And that's good to know, isn't it? Because if I am a fire sign, boom, the archer, I'm heading off into the future. If I have an Aries ascendant, then that's going to come across like I'm going to want to do my doings in a fast, bold, dynamic, like even self-oriented way, like maybe less of a team or less collaboration. I'm just going to be like me. There's nothing wrong with that. That's actually perfect if that were true for me. And so knowing your ascendant is like huge to knowing the way that your body, because ascendant is your rising signs in your first house. That's your embodiment. That's your physical body. And as we are reclaiming our feminine way of being, we're reclaiming the wisdom of our bodies. And I overrode that for many years. And because that it was my fire sign, I wanted to put fire in the way that I did things because the fire demanded it. It was like, the Sag self demanded it. It was like, get some damn fire in here. And like, let's do the thing. Right. But aging, being midlife, also in the time and space that we're in, a feminine reclamation, and we're all taking another look. And this is really important for the astrology, even when I'm releasing this right now, it's just to relook at everything, question everything. And as I'm questioning everything, what's happening is I'm like, oh, that does not work. That double fire does not work for me. Now, if you're double fire listening to me, you're going to be like, oh, that feels really good. Awesome. You do you, right? Because you're going to be happy doing you. So my rising sign is an earth sign. It's a slow earth sign. But here I'm going to add something else. It's ruled by Venus. And so that sign, and when I started to do this practice called medicine wheel, and I gave you instructions inside of it. If you wanted to get it, you can get it and avail yourself to these instructions. I started to get the download of something very important about how I do work. So instead of overlaying something that's culturally conditioned, or that the elemental energy of my purpose wants me to do, I'm able to actually acknowledge and honor myself to do it differently. That's made a huge difference. That has changed everything about the way that I work. Now, these distinctions are also available in the gene keys and human design. And I'm not going to talk about that here, but I do talk about that in other contexts on this channel, my YouTube channel, inside the membership. I talk about it a lot. And in fact, in May, we're going to unleash inside the membership a human design teaching, because people are really hungry, and that makes sense for the context of your blueprint. Who am I? How do I work? How do I work the best? So let me wrap up by just saying a few words about medicine wheel. In medicine wheel, it is, a medicine wheel from native traditions. It functions as a circle and calls in the directions. This happened to me inside of a womb space, inside of the womb of the labyrinth. You don't need a labyrinth to do it. I often do it when I'm hiking on the trail. I know which way is east because I know what time of day it is and where the sun is. And so I call in the directions. And I did something different, and it just was spontaneous. I started calling in the directions in a way that evoked my rising sign, my sun sign, and then the full moon and new moon. And then I touch into the divine feminine and touch into the divine masculine. And then I source universal energy. Because what I'm over, and I don't know if you're over this, but I'm completely over doing everything myself, running it all through my template energy. It's just too much. I can't keep up. There's too much I want to do. There's too much I want to create. So I need to source energy that is bigger than I am. And that's what I do inside of this practice. It's made a huge difference. Let me tell you about the results. A couple things. One is my energy level. I gave a retreat. Some of you know, you were there. That retreat, my energy held up and stayed consistent in a way that it has not before. And that was amazing for me to actually witness what happened inside my energy body. And every day I was doing the medicine wheel. The other thing that's happened is actually changing the way that I do my work. No longer am I overlaying onto my purpose a way of doing my purpose that doesn't feel right for me. And I talk about this inside of Medicine Wheel. The third thing, I'm actually thinking of another thing that changed for me, and that is uniting the masculine and feminine energies inside of me. That's an integration. And so now I'm really conscious of the energies mater, mother, pater, father, patterns, and as it relates to matter, I'm much more related to that. The other thing that I'm related to is the releasing. There's a releasing portion of this, and also creating from the luminous void. I did a video on that, but that's the actual practice of where I create from the luminous void. And then at the end, putting it all together. So it actually takes less than 15 minutes. Oftentimes it's shorter. It's as long as I want to make it, but really it's not that long. I do it on my walks, and I feel like it's put me on a new threshold, a new pattern, a new way of walking my life. And it's deeply honoring. It's deeply honoring of who I am, and also connected to a source of creation that it can come out of the blue. It's very Uranian in that way. It can come out of the blue. I'm sourcing things to come out of the blue. And I want that for you too, because yes, we work hard and we work incremental and we set things up in systems and structures, and that's awesome. But sometimes we need a break. We just need it to come from out of nowhere and light us up and have this opportunity come from out of nowhere. And this is my way of calling that in, opening myself up to receive it. So that's all I'll say. If you're interested in Medicine Wheel, I'll put the link wherever this is. I'll put the link near it so that you can sign up for it. And I'd love to have you inside the practice and hear more about how this is affecting you. So at the end of the day, what we're here to do, and all of the astrology is supporting this, we're here to be the version of our blueprint, who we came here to be. It's a template. It's not the sum total of who we are, but it is consciousness as you, as me, as this template. I mean, isn't that fun? Isn't that amazing? For lifetimes, we get to be different templates. And this is the one we chose for this lifetime, for this assignment, to be midwives and priestesses of the age. All right. I look forward to hearing from you.